Let's now move on to how you got into banking. You mentioned that you finished university. How did you get into banking?
Thank you very much. After finishing university and working for Dr Mwangi, an auditing firm, I was pushed by one of the banks that I was auditing. They seemed to have liked the way we were doing, climbed up the ranks to become a group financial controller of the bank. And then by default, so equity had been started by people in my village, and they were having problems. And they came to me and say, can you salvage this bank? So that's how then I moved to Equity Bank to salvage a village circle in form of a building society. It had only branches in Kangema, Kereaine, and Moradia, which are within a radius of 7 kilometers, all the 3 of them. So I would call it a community building society. And that is how I was sucked into banking. And looking back, maybe that's how best I've spent my last 25 years helping build that institution.
Okay. Did you foresee Equity Bank getting to the level it is right now, especially at that point where they were just within a radius of 7 kilometers?
As I said, Michael, the calling was to salvage. It was a technically insolvent institution. Can you turn it loud? So obsession was turn loud initially. And then we said, after turn loud, what do we do? Then they said, now move away from a turn loud manager, develop strategy and provide leadership in finance. So I became strategy finance director. That was in 1993. And then we saw, yes, can we transform the village using this institution? And that's where we started. And then we realized that the village was not big enough to provide the economies of scale that would support. So we extended a little bit to about 10 branches from the 4 branches we had. Did we see it becoming what it is today? I believe nobody could have ever imagined Equity being the size it is today, having the influence and the impact it has today. But we kept the ambition live, and we never got satisfied. And eventually we now said, we'll build a global bank that will make Kenyans proud, that they have one of their biggest iconic company will be Equity. Today, we're headed to 7 countries. So you can see we are now making Nairobi a financial hub. We could never have imagined that we would be the pillar of Nairobi becoming a financial hub. We could never have visualized that we would be ranked Africa's best bank in terms of efficiency, both capital and asset deployment in the world. We never saw it coming. But what we did was continue to do the right things consistently, and growth kept on coming, and awards kept on coming. So in 2007, Equity won as the Global Vision Award with the caption, initiators of a concept of the future that will change the global economy. We didn't understand. But 5 years later, 2012, it won as the Forbes Person of the Year in Africa, and won as the Ernst & Young World Entrepreneurs of the Year. So that kept on keeping the dream alive. So when today we are ranked the 8th best bank in terms of efficiency in the world, we now see this is a foundation for a great institution that hopefully will define and brand Kenya.
Okay, looking at Equity today, of course, we see how many huge strides that you have taken. But when you took over Equity, it was a building society, and the staff were demotivated, they had not been paid, it was in debt. How did you motivate them to continue working despite the fact that it looked very gloomy at that point?
Maybe for the listener to appreciate the journey we have done, as Michael said, Equity was technically insolvent. We had a deposit base of only 22 million shillings. We had a loan book of 9 million shillings. And we had shareholders' funds of 1 million shillings. But we had losses of 33 million shillings. And that's how it was defined technically insolvent. The number of branches were only 4, number of staff were only 27. And the only way was to really paint the big picture, move away from the picture as it was then and say, but out of these ashes, we can create a great institution. We could impact, and we created a big picture which became an inspiration to everybody, that we could become. And as soon as success started trickling, it energized people. As we started taking shape and moving from number 66 out of 66 to 65 to 64, and eventually to today we rank ourselves number 1, because last year we were the country's most profitable bank. We were the biggest bank in number of customers, the biggest bank in terms of members of staff, the most impactful bank in agriculture, in SME sector, and ranked in every category the best bank in Kenya by Think Business. We now see the journey that we have got. When we look back, what have been the biggest contribution is the inspiration that we got from the big picture. We said, this is not banking for the sake of banking. We are banking to empower our people to transform their lives. So as we saw one Kenyan transform their life after the other, we really got really motivated. So it is the concept of the greater calling. It's a big picture that has kept us. And then, okay, I must say we were lucky to have great leaders at the board level that kept on encouraging us and allowing us at every stage to support the growth, either with the technology, either with the regional expansion, either with the conversion, either with raising money. So we kept on doing a few things that went extremely well. And that explains the great equity. And then we won the trust and hearts of Kenyans. And we continued. So today we have 10 million customers from 2,000 that support us. That support of Kenyans explains the size of Equity Bank. It's the aggregate value of the rise of 10 million people that is a measure of Equity Bank.
Okay. You as an individual, through your leadership and through Equity Bank making changes in the banking industry, have won quite a number of awards. Which one stands out for you most?
A couple of awards, Michael, stands out. The first one, as I said, was the Global Vision Award. Being named the winner of a Global Vision Award, I think in Germany during the G8 2007 was big. We came back to hand it over to President Kibaki. It was that big. Then 2012, being named the Forbes African Person of the Year, and 3 months later, the Ernst & Young World Entrepreneur of the Year. And looking at the 56 countries that had frontiered their best entrepreneur, and then Kenya winning that coveted position was great. But I think the most humbling thing was being given the challenge to lead Vision 2030 out of this. Is being given and awarded 5 doctorate degrees in recognition and in celebration of the work of Equity Bank. It's being asked to serve in the G8, G20, UN Advisory Council, the World Bank advice. That has been very, very humbling for me, but it has also been a great platform to learn. Being on the Clinton Global Initiative as an advisor, being on Obama's Global Development Initiative, being on the panel advising the British government on humanitarian aid, or advising Bill and Melinda Gates, has been very humbling, but also an excellent platform for me to learn.